we're going to take a look at this striped SC-DC stitch. All it is rows alternating between SC or single crochet, that's these light blue stripes, and DC or double crochet stripes, that's the white or Aran shade and the darker blue. So all you need to know to work this stitch is your SC or single crochet stitch, DC or double crochet stitch, and how to change colors. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. I've got a swatch already begun, and I've worked 4 rows of the stripe pattern, and I'm ready to join my new color. So in this particular stripe pattern, we're going to break yarn in between colors. So that means just cutting the yarn. So I'm going to leave a tail of about 6 or 8 inches. Just snip that off, and you can weave that in later. So I'm going to pick up my next color, which is Contrast C, or my Aran shade. And now I've worked to the end of this single crochet row, and on my very last stitch, I'm not going to finish it off. I'm going to leave 2 loops on hook. Now, normally to finish my single crochet, I would yarn over the hook and pull through those 2 loops. But I'm going to pull through those 2 loops with my new shade, just to finish off that SC. And that's going to leave a nice neat color change at the end of my row. And so now I'm ready to turn and work my next row. So this is a DC row. So to begin my DC row, I'm going to chain 3. So yarn over hook and pull through 1, 2, 3 times. And this chain 3 counts as a double crochet stitch. So that means this is my first stitch that I would work into if I was working an SC row. But because this counts as a double crochet, I'm not going to work into that first stitch. I'm going to work into the second stitch because I've already got that double crochet made. So I can yarn over hook, insert my hook into the next stitch, yarn over hook, pull up a loop, yarn over hook, draw through 2 loops on hook, yarn over hook, draw through 2 loops on hook to make a double crochet stitch. And I will repeat that all the way across. Now I'm going to show you a little trick when you're working with color work. I'm just going to undo that last double crochet. Now we've got these 2 tails hanging here from our color change, and you can weave those in when you've finished your project. But what I like to do is actually crochet over these tails, weaving them in as I go, essentially. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm just going to pick up both of these tails. Now, if you'd like, you can just work over one at a time, but I'm going to work over both here. I'm going to pull them up and just sort of lie them on top of my stitches that I'm going to work into here. It gets a little tricky to see when you begin, but once you've worked that first stitch around, you can see how easy it is, and it gets easier as you go along. So I'm going to work my double crochet stitch here, yarning over my hook, and then I'm going around these tails and inserting into my stitch, drawing up a loop, yarn over hook, draw through 2 loops on hook, yarn over hook, draw through 2 loops on hook. So I've made my double crochet, and you can see I've caught those tails at the base there. They're being secured. So if I do that a few more times, yarn over hook, insert my hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over hook, draw through 2 loops on hook, yarn over hook, draw through 2 loops on hook. And I'm just securing those tails as I go. I'm just going to do that a couple more times until I've got, I don't know, 4, 6 stitches. Really doesn't matter as long as you've worked an inch or 2 over those tails. And then going to pull them tight for a minute and snip close to my stitch. Be careful not to cut into your stitches. And then if I pull it out a little bit, they're just going to disappear in there. So it is slightly visible, but you can see on both sides, you've got those tails secure. And then you can just keep on working and you don't have to worry about weaving in all those ends at the beginning of your project. So I'm just going to continue working my DC stitch. And remember, for double crochet, always to yarn over your hook before you insert your hook into the stitch, and then after twice. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over once, through 2 loops, yarn over twice, through 2 loops. And you can see that just with 2 different stitches and a few different colors, you can get some pretty complicated looking patterns, some neat looking effects without knowing a lot of complex stitches. So here I'm working into my last stitch, and just like at the end of my last SC row, I'm going to work until there are 2 loops left on my hook. So I'm going to yarn over hook, draw through 2 loops on hook, and now I just have 2 loops left there. And now I'm going to change to my light blue shade again. So I'm just going to put that down. I'm going to snip off my yarn, leaving a 68-inch tail. I'm going to pick up my next color. Just as before, I'm just going to finish off the stitch, leaving a tail with my new shade. Now I'm just going to drop some yarn, excuse me there, and I'm going to turn my work. So I can do this same working over my yarn tails on the SC rows. I can work it exactly the same way as I did on my DC rows. So now, when we worked our DC row, we chained 3 at the beginning, and that counted as a DC stitch. For SC, we only need to chain 1 at the beginning of our rows. That's our turning chain, and that doesn't count as a stitch. So I am going to work into this first stitch here and all the way along. So I'm just going to pull those yarn tails up again, up onto the top of my row. I'm going to work around them. It's good to sort of turn your work so you can see the top and make sure you're getting into that first stitch, because those tails can get in the way. And now I've secured that, and I'm going to work into each of my next DCs. And just remember that for a single crochet, you don't yarn over the hook before you insert it into your stitch. Just insert your hook into the stitch, drop a loop, yarn over hook, draw through those 2 loops on your hook. Insert into your stitch, drop a loop, yarn over hook, draw through those 2 loops on the hook. So I'm just going to work a few more SC stitches. Maybe a little more yarn there. Just to secure those tails or ends of yarn. And I'm going to pull them tight. Now, the reason I'm pulling it before I cut it is so when I pull it after I've cut it, it slinks back in there. And that's that. That's about it. That's all you need to know to work this great striped stitch pattern. An SC stitch, a DC stitch, and now you know how to change colors and to work over your tails to avoid weaving in lots of ends at the end of your project. That's it for today.